Remember Jared Kushner, the guy that Trump put in charge of a whole bunch of foreign policy issues that he had no experience in, no knowledge of, and we all know how that went. And then the moment he left the White House, he was handed $2 billion by the Saudis over the recommendation of their own financial board. Yeah, you might think that with all of those troubles and his business ties to multiple countries, he might have trouble getting back into the White House. You know, you need a security clearance and all that. Well, don't you worry. The Trump toadies have a plan. A memo circulating among at least half a dozen advisors to former President Trump recommends that if he's elected, he should bypass traditional background checks by law enforcement officials and immediately grant security clearances to a large number of his appointees after being sworn in. This is according to 3 sources to the New York Times. But by the way, one of the members promoting this is Boris Epshteyn, a top legal advisor to Trump. You've heard about him. He pops up in the fake electors scheme and a whole bunch of his own legal trouble. So basically, this proposal suggests using private sector investigators, like people they choose for profit that they might well own themselves, to perform background checks on the intended appointees, cutting out the role traditionally played by FBI agents, who of course these people hate. Once Mr. Trump took the oath, he would then summarily approve a large group for access to classified secrets. It's not clear whether Trump has seen the proposal or whether he's inclined to adopt it if he takes office. It's also not clear whether he needs to know anything about this for this to become official government policy. Stay tuned to find out. But this would mean that he could bypass the traditional investigations that would, for instance, look for if you're operating as an agent of a foreign government, if you have business ties to foreign governments, if you have other outstanding legal issues. Skip all of that and just put all of these rabidly corrupt cronies into these positions of authority instantaneously to begin the wide-scale looting of the US government and the reformulation of our policy to benefit themselves and their business interests.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
Right. I mean, it is, it's pure kleptocracy, right? This is like what we would like, is kleptocracy. It's foreign meddling at the highest level. And honestly, John, you kind of have to get rid of security clearances in a second Trump administration because there's not enough like psychos who pass a security clearance who are still willing to serve in a second Trump administration. Like a lot of them have already said they're not voting for Trump. They don't want to be part of a Trump cabinet. I think Bill Barr would probably come back if I'm being totally honest with you. I think he's definitely voting for Trump, unlike John Kelly and others. Mark Meadows is going to be right back there. But yeah, so, I don't think it can be understated how terrifying something like this is on all kinds of levels. I mean, this is the same Republican Party that was saying, what's going on with the Secret Service and how come they're not keeping Donald Trump safe? So are we going to lower the bar for Secret Service? Probably, right?
Yeah.
And we wouldn't want anything to happen to Donald Trump. Would we? Of course not. Of course not. So, but it like, whenever you talk about Russia, you kind of get like, are you like, Russia Gator, psycho? Like, no, I actually just kind of like pay attention to everything that's been going on. And a lot of the ties between, people like Paul Manafort did serve time in jail and the Russian government. Then you're like, gee, I wonder where, the NRA got, billions of dollars in dark money to funnel to the Trump campaign back then. Russia, most likely. Like, where are all these right-wing influencers like Tim Pool and Benny Johnson, or whatever the hell that dude's name is, getting for making a bunch of anti-Ukraine videos? Russia, like, let's not be so lily white about and precious about the fact that, like, our government's definitely infiltrated by foreign actors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even talking about Israel.
100%. Yeah, we were able to discover some of that because they look into these things. We'll forget about that. We'll still do as much corruption reporting as we can, I guess, with the little information that will exist, and whatever newspapers will still exist. And we'll talk more about that in the aftermath. But yeah, no, this is exactly what we should expect that they would do. Utterly corrupt, utterly swampy. And so, of course, this is what Trump is intending to do. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.